I mean, sure, Power Platform has over 500 connectors, but has there ever been a connector that you thought should be listed that wasn't? Now, if you create it, you can get that connector listed in the product with your name next to it as the author. This feature, Independent Publisher Connectors, is what Natalie Pienkowska is going to show us on PowerCat Live. Welcome to PowerCat Live. My name is Phil Toppins with the PowerCat team, and I'm here with Natalie Pienkowska from our Connectors team. Hi, Natalie.
Hey, Phil. Thanks for having me here today.
Are you kidding? This is a great topic. I'm excited to talk about it. But before we start talking about independent publisher connectors, tell us, how did you get this role in this team and your path into Microsoft?
Yeah, so back in 2019, I was an intern on the data integration team where I worked primarily on Power Query. So I got some experience there. Then did my last semester of senior year at Boston University where I was studying computer science, and then joined the Connectors team back in June of last year. So I just recently celebrated my first year work anniversary.
Congrats. What do you get for first year? Do you get anything?
No, just kudos here and there. Like, congrats, you made it.
Satisfaction of a job well done.
Right.
So we're going to talk about then one of the things you've been working on during that first year, independent publisher connectors. What are these?
Yeah, so these are just like any other connector. You can find them in our products, in our Power Platform products, and they look just the same, except the person who's creating it and submitting it is very different. So basically, for the first time, we're allowing anyone to submit a connector to the Power Platform. And of course, we're vetting it and validating it, which I'll touch upon later. But we've heard this asked from MVPs for years and from other people, because right now we only restrict end service owners to submit connectors to their APIs.
So the end service owners are like the people that actually own the service you're connecting to, but this opens it up a lot. Now, I could already build a custom connector to a lot of these services. So what's different now with independent publisher connectors?
You can share it with others. So instead of, downloading the files and sending them via email or finding like other ways to send it around, you could just publish it, share it with the greater community, and have everyone use it and everyone add to it and everyone support it.
So if I'm a maker and I want to use one of these connectors, what do I need to do?
All you have to do is log into Power Automate, Power Apps, or Logic Apps, but we have a special experience within Power Automate that I'd love to show you. So if you look at the flow designer here, I have a very, very simple flow here. When a new response is submitted from a feedback survey, right? Let's put that into Airtable. So as you can see, these connectors show up in the search key as any other connector, except you can see that there is a call out that they're independent publisher, just so that people know. And we always have the same generic red orange icon here for all of these connectors. You can also see that there's a label called premium next to all of them. And so you need to make sure that you have a license that supports premium features before you're able to use one of these connectors. And so let's click on one of the actions here. We have create a record. As you can see here, there's a little bit of a consent box that you have to look at and read. And it has a lot of information. So you see who it's published by. You can also see this is the same call out for each one of the independent publisher connectors that we have, to make sure that you go and you trust. If you don't trust this connector, go into GitHub, make sure you look at all the files. But of course, we are validating this to the same extent as all certified connectors. Then we have an overview that's submitted by the publishers so that you can learn a little bit more about Airtable if you haven't seen it before. You can also see when it was last updated, and you can look at the source code in GitHub and the documentation page, all conveniently from here. So you could do your due diligence in looking at this connector. And then all of these connectors are supported under the MIT license. And once you put in your connection name and your API key, you can accept and move on, and you can make it work. So it's very similar to all their connectors. And then of course, each connector has its own connector page. A lot of this information is the same from the previous consent page. You can see the description, link to the documentation, link to GitHub, the MIT license support, all the triggers and actions, last updated date. But beyond this, we're hoping to introduce usage telemetry, how many connections have been created to this connector, how many people are using it, as well as ratings and reviews for these connectors so that people could submit, hey, this connector is 5 stars. I love it. It has all the actions and triggers I've been looking for. Don't touch this connector. It's perfect, So we want to make sure that we start bridging that community between makers and developers so that developers can easily get the feedback that they need for these connectors. We'll also have a submit and issue experience here. So for folks who are scared of GitHub or don't have a GitHub account, all you'll have to do is click on submit an issue and it'll pop up and you can put in the issue there and type it in and it'll go straight into GitHub on your behalf.
So from hearing that comment that you suggested people might post, it sounds like you haven't spent a lot of the time on the internet looking at comments. They're not all that positive.
I know.
But we can expect that that's what we'll hear.
I'm hoping, and it's Woong who created this one, so he's great.
So you mentioned how the connectors are validated, and they're validated a lot like the first-party connectors. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So all of our non-Microsoft connectors are validated to the same extent. So we do a verification of the endpoint. So this is to make sure that, the Airtable connector is actually connecting to Airtable, not some random country and some random service. And then we have Swagger validations. We have over 100 different validations that we do for the Swagger file to make sure that, again, for security sanity, but also to make sure that, all the descriptions match up and the grammar is good. And then we also have breaking change validation. So every time a publisher would submit an update to this connector, in addition to running all of the other previous validations that I mentioned, we'd also run a breaking change validation so that it doesn't break other existing flows and apps based on the new update. And then we also do a ton of our own quality and verification checks. Again, whether it's security checks that we do on our end or, looking into just, again, a lot of the descriptions, the grammar, to making sure that, the overview and the documentation looks good and it's detailed enough. So we do it to the same extent. The only very minor difference is that we expect that independent publishers test their connector fully, to make sure that all of the operations work. So that's the only minor difference there, but we are still testing to make sure that you can actually create a connection, whether it's OAuth, you can still authenticate. So a lot of that is still the same.
And what kind of reaction have you already seen? I know this is a new program, but how's it already been received?
Yeah, so we've received a couple of submissions already on GitHub during the private preview stages from MVPs who are really interested in submitting connectors that they've built so long ago. And they've been really excited to finally give it out to the public and have their name in the product, which is pretty awesome. And then from the maker side, I've also heard, wow, I didn't know it was that easy to use. I thought there was going to be a separate link or separate marketplace, or I'd have to add it to my environment, but it's just available, just like any other connector.
And so if people do want to become a maker using these or produce one on their own, publish one, where do they go?
Yeah, so to use it, they go in Power Automate, Power Apps, or Logic Apps. To publish it or to look through the files, and you go into GitHub. And the link will show up on the screen.
And I've got this link and the other link actually in the description too, so if anyone wants to go and explore those further. Well, Natalie, thanks for showing this. This is an exciting new feature, and I mean, we've already got, I don't know how many hundreds connectors at this point. But it's going to just blow up with this. So this is great. We really can connect into anything now.
Yep, we have 500 and counting.
And counting. Plus, thanks, Natalie.
Thank you, Phil.